Hey guys,
Hey, how you guys doing?
how's it going?
The show must go on, even in an imperfect world. Is about to get more perfect because Mrs. Rex, right behind the camera, is preparing lasagna.
Lasagna is my one of my favorite foods,
And yeah,
and
this
so
is
it's
Rambo.
Rambo's as well.
Rambo's gonna come here, little fella. Come here.
Whoop.
Oh no, no.
Here, come here, Rambo. Yeah, we're
Sorry about that, guys. Real
Okay.
life stuff.
Real life cats.
It's like Murphy's Law, man. If we're doing anything important, he's like on the table. But we like Rambo. You just like being on the table. He's a good guy.
He just wants to be the star of the show.
Yeah, he's the star of the show. Yeah, so here we are live. And we're going to talk about the ultimate blue collar man. You know, like there's guys that work hard for the pennies and they don't have a lot of money to get like a tier one battle grade sniper rifle set up that costs $10,000 or something, right? And so we wanted to do a special project explaining an efficient, easy to use, semi affordable, really, really good rifle that I would actually probably grab, like if I had to just run out the door when the Russians come down in the parachutes in the 1984 flick Red Dawn,
I
if
was
you remember
gonna
that.
say.
Not the new Red Dawn. That's dumb.
Oh.
That's the millennials version of Red Dawn. Okay, whole
That is
different
bad.
animal. Anyways, but in the real Red Dawn. So we're gonna have fun with that. Oh, Rambo, yeah.
He escaped.
Rambo the cat has now escaped. And so if you hear any noise in the background, guys, that's cool. That's just we do our live streams at the supper table. So it's all right, man.
In the realest way.
Yeah, so when we're eating stuff, we got to be careful not to knock over the death flower that we have here. We got all kinds of stuff here we're going to show during the course of the live stream. And of course, we will converse with you as we're doing the boring parts, like where I put the scope on. The reason we can finally do this video now, guys, is we've had... Can I have that rifle, sister?
This one.
Yep, just point straight up. All right. I've had this deal ready to go for a little while. I got this Macmillan A5, which there's reasons for why I chose this particular stock in general for this particular project, which we can expound on after a little while. So I got a Macmillan A5 custom configured the way I wanted it. And I'm sure if you call Macmillan, if you want to duplicate the setup, because it's actually very easy to do, that's why I chose this configuration. Is there better stuff than this, better deals? Probably. But I wanted to do something that would be universally available, something easy to grab onto. You can go down to the gun store for the most part, get all the barrel action, and then you can order the proper stock, and then you can just go online and buy your optic, and you are set. And so that's what this video is going to be about. But this is a Remington 700 AAC rifle with a 20-inch barrel, okay? And just a standard AAC, nothing fancy. 1 in 10 twist. And the reason we chose that is because it's like the Chevy 350 small block. You can put all kinds of parts on there, different aftermarket accessories. I am a man that loves my Huber Concepts 2-stage triggers. So that's exactly what I'm running in here. For those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, we will, okay, demonstrate real quickly. Of course, I'm sure most of you know what a 2-stage trigger is. That means your first stage, you have a lot of pull before it engages, but when you get there, that second stage is incredibly sharp and crisp and is perfect. This trigger was developed, and you can watch the full review on that. You guys, most of you guys on the channel know about the trigger, but for those of you who don't, this is designed for guys that are going to be in high pressure scenarios where they need to time the shot perfectly. And the way that the human brain interprets tactile sensation information and has to make decisions, this trigger is scientifically really well thought out. And if you really want to get into the details, you can check out my comprehensive review of the Huber 2-stage trigger, which we have on here. So Remington AAC rifle, or barrel action, right? With the Huber 2-stage trigger. I went with the Badger bottom metal. I think that's just the B5 or the A5. I forget all the names of this crazy stuff, guys. But your standard Badger bottom metal. I like the big flapper here on this particular kind because in the wintertime, like remember, Casey? Like remember half an hour ago?
Yes.
there's not a lot of snow out there, but that doesn't mean it's not still, I don't know. It was like, it was below freezing with a good stout wind. And that'll take the life right out of you. So you're going to be wearing gloves. And under pressure with gloves, it's nice just to be able to do that. And plus, I got a lot of muscle memory built up on that already that I don't want to contradict, right? And so you pop your mags in here. And the Badger bottom metal, I got that from Optics Planet. And so I got the stock from Kelly McMillan, or McMillan Fiberglass Stocks. One thing they did do is I took this into the Schmidt, and we got a stain egg specification, like the NATO spec rail, okay? There's two different kinds of rails, guys. And you can get like the old cowboy weaver style rails, or the NATO approved stain egg rails. They're actually different dimensions. And on certain products, you have to make, I mean, if you want, there's reasons there's NATO specifications and standardized dimensions. But I got that rail, and I put that up here so that I can run my Accutac bipod, is the bipod I would recommend for most stuff. You can do all kinds of weird stuff with it. You can fold it forward for a little extra stability. You can fold it backwards like this. If, there's a whole variety of modulation that's available at your disposal. It does swivel, and you can tighten it, and it's built like a tank. This is going nowhere. This is a step above a Harris. And you can still put a Harris on here, man. You got a rail, you just get a rail adapter for your Harris. If you want to go lightweight, if lightweight becomes a priority for whatever reason, then I would just throw a Harris 9 to 13 inch notch leg bipod with the swivel S series on here. If I couldn't have, but for the way I shoot and how much stuff I break, I like the Accutac. It's pretty cool. But the other reason I went with this big rail is I can throw on one of these critters right here. Would you hold this for a second?
Yep.
Thank you, sister. Exhilarating, isn't it? All right, the TAC 3. This is the latest generation. It's a totally different animal than the original prototypes. The concept is exactly the same. They stiffened it up incredibly more. I think that most of this stuff is now American made. So these tubes are built like, there's no flex in here. Try to flex it. And you can go out pretty far with it. We'll show you what it's for in a second. Go ahead and try to flex that thing. Like bend it.
Bend it?
Here, I'll grab this. Go on the end.
Yeah,
it's stiff, right?
Yeah.
So there's no flex. There's no bounce. But what you do is you can attach this on here like so, and then you lock her down like so, and then you put your bipod way out as far as you need to go. There's a lot of situations that arise when Murphy comes around for a visit where you can't utilize an ideal firing position. You have to get a little bit creative. And so this allows you the ability to, there's so many different ways you can manipulate this kind of a system. But we'll talk about that when we talk about urban hide construction at one of the classes we do sometime. I ain't projecting that on the internet. But also, just to stabilize your hasty shooting platform, it's very nice to get that bipod way the heck out there. So it's an item that I actually do keep in my kit, and it's like super lightweight. It makes the footprint quite a bit bigger. It's a large item when it's extended on and attached to the rifle, but when you're done, you just detach it, you fold it up, and you throw it in that pouch. Like this here, and it doesn't weigh anything, so it doesn't weigh a lot. You can just throw it on your pack, right? So I actually did take this barreled action because I am kind of a stickler on some of the details. I checked out that we had decent bolt lug contact on the bolt lugs, but I had an accuracy job done on it. I took it to my standby armorer man, and I said, hey man, so he just kissed the front of the receiver, got it squared up, got it trued, did a recoil or the bolt lug job on there. They put a little rouge on there and they work it a bunch, so now it's full contact. Just a little bit of an accuracy job. We also did make sure that this AAC fast attach deal for me, now direct attach silencers or suppressors, whatever you want to call them, are a lot better and from an internal ballistics standpoint, meaning the sucker will be a lot more or a lot less prone to having a little bit of accuracy issues. Because on a fast attach like this, you throw on your SDN6, right? And there's a certain amount of time it takes because there's a little bit of play in there, and you usually don't want to get it all the way bottomed out. But if you properly attach this, you go about 1 tooth back so it don't get barbecued on too bad. And there's a little bit of play. Once it gets hot, hey, off the table, goofball. Crazy animal, sorry about that. But once this sucker gets really hot and carboned on here, it's going to solidify. And so it's a deal. Now there are different applications, guys. You got to think about this. In my case, so we talked about the preference of internal ballistic perfection, right? But sometimes we sacrifice other priorities, bigger priorities, on the altar of perfection, which is really unachievable if you get close enough or a large enough magnifying glass. The reason I went with this 3-prong flash hider on here is so that if I'm not running the can, I still got something protecting the front, first of all, because the crown's very delicate. Second of all, it'll kind of sort of almost suppress the flash, not so well, but better than nothing. Better than a big clear fireball coming out the front. But the big deal is I have interchangeability with my other stuff, because if the day ever comes and I have to like maybe run for the hills or whatever, you want to hold this one more time, sister? Thank you. I'm going to also have something like this right here, okay? This is my Mark 18, okay? Daniel Defense, fully tax stamped SBR type situation, right? It's even got the dinosaur on there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I got the dinosaur. I don't know if you can see that or not. But then I can use the same can for all my stuff, right? Oh man, I'm gonna wreck stuff. So then I can switch back and forth. So if I need to do some kind of like close-in type covert work or just not blow my eardrums out, it's nice to have. These are very, very convenient items to have, okay? And of course we have the, what do they call this deal? You ever see these bipods? I love these things. So lightweight, carbon fiber, ultra lightweight. I think it's a javelin deal. And you can take that off there real quick too. It's magnetic, it's kind of neat. You can watch a review on that. So that's what I run on the front here. And then I got all kinds of whatever stuff. I got the, what do you call this? The Cyclops from Primary Arms. There we go. It's like a hybrid kind, it's like a red dot that doesn't need to have batteries because it still has an actual reticle in it, okay, that illuminates. So it's a pretty heavy duty little unit for long-term operation type deals, okay? And so that's why I went on this particular configuration with the fast attach suppressor. How much does that make it suck? Are they already talking smack or what?
They just said I'm gonna get smacked in the head a bunch.
Hey, where's
okay.
the hard hat? We have a hard hat for people that sit next to me when I'm doing live streams.
I'm not
See,
sure.
I'm wrecking stuff, guys. But at any rate, the reason, how much does this actually make it suck is the question. In terms of accuracy, that depends on your barrel's rigidity, okay? If you have a short proportion heavy barrel like we have on the Remington AAC, it's only a 20-inch barrel, and it's relatively heavy, and so you have a lot of rigidity, so the point of impact shift is not huge. I always zero it for this on there, because if I'm going to use it in real life, I'm going to use this on there. But this thing, when I run it on my other rifle with my Moeller Works, attaching the bipod, or attaching the suppressor silencer on the front and taking it off, you're still well under a minute of angle. If I take this thing off, it's all in the same exact hole. If I put it on, it does open it up a little bit until it barbecues on here, and then it's still pretty tight though. I mean, it's still like on your thumbnail, or maybe about, so you can settle in around 3/4 minute of angle, or even 1 minute of angle, depending on how it's working. And this particular SDN6 has had its butt kicked. Like on FALs, I would pile up just a pile of magazines laying next to me, and me and my compadre would take turns just like handling the rifle. You have to use like welding gloves because the rifle was so hot. This thing turned white. The finish actually changes color when it gets really hot. And if it was dark out, it would have been probably almost glowing. Pretty exciting, huh?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting stuff. So that's why I went that way on that part of the rifle. Yep.
So, like, would you use this, like, does it matter which kind of silencer you use on your rifle?
I think so, yes. The reason I went with the SDN6 is because of modularity. It's standard issue stuff. You're going to find them laying everywhere. A lot of guys run them. So if I blow this up, I can go, maybe someday eventually you'll find in World War III, right? Maybe another, this is widely used. This is something maybe you could borrow from somebody else, on a different system. So modularity is the reason I went with this. Now, if internal ballistic superiority and transitional ballistic superiority. Transitional ballistics is that critical point between the internal ballistics when the gun's going off and the bullet ain't out of the barrel yet. And all those, that's what makes the accurate rifle accurate, is attention to internal ballistic perfection, right? But when that bullet's exiting the muzzle, very critical point. And so from a transitional ballistics perspective, there are suppressors that are more conducive to better accuracy if accuracy was a priority. However, mind you, this is a rifle with I actually told the dude, my gunsmith, I said, hey man, I'm going to use this in Red Dawn and or hunting. Okay, hunting something. I don't know what it is. Which is a big clue, which, some guys look always through the lens. Some gunsmiths are like really good at F-class type shooting, right? Or some gunsmiths might specialize in a different field. So they're going to have different things they're trying to accomplish. For field applications, you have to have more forgiveness. I had them have the throat, cut a little longer on here so I can run any ammo in here. And because you don't know what the battlefield's going to bring in terms of ammo, I can throw M80 in here. I can throw the stuff from India in here. You ever shoot that Indian ammo from India? It is incredible. Or the Brazilian stuff? No, where is that? I forget what company. It's like in a gold and white box, but I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something pretty Western because there's like a lot of, it's really interesting ammo. Well, interesting is as far as I'll go with that. But I want to be able to have this run on any kind of ammo. So with the priority of being having maximum reliability in the system, I went with kind of a little bit looser of a chamber, not a match grade. I mean, it's still he did go through and make sure it was squared up and that the action was squared up. And as long as your chamber is aligned with the axis of the bore, it will still be accurate, even with a little bit looser dimensions on things. That's the big key. That's the big priority when they're doing it. And so that's how I had that done there. But so it's a matter of balancing priorities. Silencer Co. There's a lot of other companies. Even AAC makes some of these other deals. There's a lot of really good suppressors that are better if precision is a priority. But being that my priority in this weapon is absolute functionality, it has to work. I need modular capability with the rest of the guys and with the rest of my system because I'm running the Mark 18 over here that I just showed you, right? Okay, so that becomes a bigger priority because I'm gaining this much in that task of accomplishing my priorities by having it configured to be more reliable and more modular. And I lose this much because of maybe there's a suppressor that's a little bit better. Now, if I was doing ELR shooting, mind you guys, this is a 308. Its max effective range, according to most manuals, is 800 meters. We push them out farther than that. I would say my max comfortable range with the normal ammunition, like if a guy's going to use standard like 175 grain Sierra Match Kings or M118 or whatever similar like match grade, equivalent ammunition, maybe you get 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 meters, and that's basically all she's got for you. After that, that bullet's no longer dynamically stable probably. And if it is, it don't got no power anyways. And so the reality is this rifle, by its cartridge, is limited in its max range potential to where all of a sudden having the internal ballistics and the transitional ballistic details being absolutely perfect are reduced because I'm not far enough to make it matter. You can win World War III very easily with a rifle that shoots 1 minute of angle if you know how to drive what you're doing, which will show us to the next step. We'll expedite that process. We'll make it easier for you guys, okay? So what we have here, and this is what we're going to do tonight, this is the optic, okay? This is the optic that I am going to go with. And actually, in real life, in all dead seriousness, guys, if I had to run out the door with something, this is what I would use right here. Now, this is cheaper than, hold on a second.
Gotcha.
For the guys that are not going to believe me, who are new to the channel, let me move the death flower out of the way. Let's put the death flower over here. Oh, watch out, it'll kill you. It's the death flower. So, like, I like stuff like this, right? This is a Steyr SSG 08A1 with a Schmidt-Bender PM2, and it's all set up for the Charlie Terac unit, which we're very close to releasing the full spectrum of reviews. We got a lot of good reviews coming out on the Charlie Terac, how to adjust it exactly, how easy it is to use, demonstrations on its performance, and those reviews will continue as we do more and more ELR videos. For those of you that don't know what that is, stay tuned. But so I do like tier 1 equipment, okay? Don't get me wrong, but this stuff is expensive. I don't know what a Schmidt & Bender costs nowadays. This rifle's kind of dirty. Sorry, guys. There's like mud and stuff all over it. Set it down. That's a very expensive deal. That scope is more expensive than this entire rifle build, okay? And so with that being said, this deal actually, combined with me being, or her, right, being under absolute stress, tell them again, they didn't see on the YouTube channel about today's experience. So we just got back from our cold weather training, okay?
Okay, so I can tell you a couple things. So I was out shooting cold, and actually, Geoff or Sarge just asked me if I'm keeping up with my skills. We're doing good. We shot out today.
Yeah. We're shooting long range at little bottles like you guys see it when you come to the RX live fires. That's what we do. We shoot at little bottles and clay pigeons and stuff like that.
So I wanted to show you guys this first because this is something Rex taught me today, and I think it's super important. If you're in cold weather environments, this is smart. So I've got really nice gloves, but we cut the finger off right at the crook there so that I can slip my trigger finger out so that I can shoot and get my finger back in the glove for the cold weather. That makes a huge difference because, like, literally after you shoot, your whole hand is gonna freeze.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
Thing.
A guy imagines in your head how it's going to be, and that's an old trick that a lot of the old cats know. But we let Casey Day experience that in real life for herself today. It's definitely cold.
It's really cold.
Especially when the wind is blowing on you, right?
Yes.
And we talked about the properties like, so steel and metal. That's why a lot of guys that run the chassis, okay? Let's talk about the details on that, okay? This is fiberglass. I could have went with the chassis for the World War III rifle. It's very cold where we're at, isn't it, Casey?
Yes.
What happened when you were grabbing all over your aluminum chassis rifle?
But, like, my whole hand froze instantly. It was so cold that, like, you know what happens when your hands get wet and they get pruny? My hands were pruny from the cold. Like,
and that was in very short order. That happened very quickly.
Yeah.
So when you are touching metal, metal can conduct heat very, very quickly. So when you touch any piece of metal that's cold, her rifle was at ambient air temperature. It was below freezing. Mm-hmm. So the second she's handling it, it's like frostbite territory in just a few seconds.
Within like 3 minutes of being out there, the gun was already starting to have problems with the slide, like with coming back on the bolt.
Yeah, everything gets stiff when it gets cold, right?
Yeah.
And so, but if it was a piece of wood or plastic, it doesn't have that same immediate, like, it doesn't suck the heat out of you. So there's one of 8 million reasons why I do kind of like fiberglass for some applications. Not all applications, guys, but for this particular application, for my climatic zone, for my area of operations, man, where I'm operating up here, where it's cold, I edited myself. We're going to have to edit that video of you shooting earlier, too.
Yeah, we have to edit a few things.
I have to edit a few things. She's like, oh, it's cold. I'm like,
flip, flip, flip.
That is correct. It is cold out here. She learned all about being cold and still maintaining the fundamentals of marksmanship and trying to execute a firing solution. What else did you learn in the super cold weather concerning ballistic management systems?
So this is super important too, guys. So I downloaded a ballistic app because I hadn't gotten my dope previously because I just resighted in this gun. We put on a new scope. So it just got...
And she's running SWFA straight 10 with the quad mil quad reticle. So she's indexing all her firing solutions using the turrets, okay? She needs to have her dope written down.
Yep. So at this point, point, I didn't have that, so I figured, well, let's just use an app, see how close we can get, and then we'll just kind of test the app out too. Why not? So I downloaded the Hornady app. I actually really like the Hornady app. It's very accurate. I downloaded it. It was
She actually was able to figure it out in like what, a minute?
a minute, and it worked.
Yeah, it
and
worked.
I had
Yeah, it's
a
very
full
easy to
table.
manage. Yep.
Yep, I had a full table in a minute. The problem, the problem arises with how quickly you can actually utilize it, because you have to go into your phone. To do that, I had to take off my glove, which in the cold weather was not a good situation. On top of that, to go and manage the app and put in the stuff I needed to.
So you have to
get
turn on the
results.
phone and hope the battery didn't freeze.
Right.
Then you have to take off your gloves to get your fingers to use the touch screen.
Yep.
Which it doesn't work as good when your fingers are frozen. The phone is covered in like ice.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, so once you get everything in there, then you're still kind of like, you have this little screen you're looking off and you're trying to see your stuff, and then you have to turn it back on because the screen went off. It was not good.
It was not what we call field expedient.
No. It really made it tough. It would have been much easier to have a printed chart, a manually, like a printed version where I could look off of it. It's big enough I can see it. I don't have to flip on a screen to see it. I think I would have been a lot more effective, and I would have shot that bottle a lot faster.
Yeah. And the whole time you're looking at your ballistic computer too, guys, you're not looking out there at what's going on. So let's say you're in a kinetic environment and there's bad guys, and you're like, oh dear Lord, there's bad guys, and you're going to dial in your turrets, right? You are now trying to figure out your dope. You're now have to turn from a panicking caveman type dude, as our friend Jaeger would say, right? There's the caveman brain, and then there's the scientist brain. That's actually very true how that works. When you're under super pressure, man, first of all, you're not going to know how to turn your phone on. You're going to forget your password. It's going to suck. And this was just in the cold weather, just shooting targets for fun, right? And so all that stuff is very slow. And when you're looking out there, you're not, you can see what's going on. But when you're down here looking down and trying to figure out your dope, you're not seeing a lot of stuff that could potentially be evolving with the target situation. So you need to have your eyes on the ball like the whole time. And so there is a system for that, okay? All that being said, we're doing an RX seminar class in Las Vegas, December 1st and 2nd. That's like a month from now. If you cats in California or someplace on the West Coast want to catch one, well, I'm still doing this because life is changing, man. Life is changing in good ways. But I'm not sure how many more of these seminar classes I'm going to be doing. Anyways, but at any rate, we'll see. We're going to play it by ear. If I can maintain some of that deal, then I'll keep doing it. But I'm a man of many coats. I like a lot of different things that I like to do. And like I said, life changes, okay? But what was I just talking about? Oh, the seminar. Hey, that's something we show you how to do there. So whatever ballistic system you are using, whatever your meteorological equipment is that you are managing, has to be done in laboratory field conditions. Otherwise, you're going to suck. And you can have the best Kestrel with completely trued information. And if you manage it different one day than you did the next day, you're going to be off by a huge amount. And that's something we show you at the Zero to Deadly. That's something we show you at the live fires. And that's something we talk about in a lot of detail at the seminar class. And so just managing your meteorological measurement equipment, your Kestrel, aside from the ballistics, managing that properly is like a skill set that requires a lot of training and practice to do appropriately. Okay? With all that being said, there's a lot of science. You have to be kind of a scientist in the field. And you have to keep that in mind under pressure, right? So you got to pull out. Hey, I got one right here. Will you hold this for a second?
Yep.
Okay, guys. You ready? Oh, man. 1,100 yards. Target just popped up. All right. All right, hold on. I could be aiming at the target and shooting at it by now. Okay. And I couldn't even get to the demo because the damn battery went out.
Oh, no.
Now I have to change batteries and do all this stuff, okay? But then you have to page through here. I'm not saying not to use this. I use these, okay? And applied ballistics is very accurate when you get it figured out. However, to manage this effectively, you have to have a multi-dimensional, multi-layered approach of how to utilize your technology and have field expedient ways of projecting that technology onto some kind of data organization system that's physically attached to the rifle in analog so that you can just look. And so that's why I have charts taped on the rifles, right?
I mean, charts are the best way to go.
Yeah.
Can't
So
fail.
you want to use a system like this, like a Kestrel, with Patagonia, Applied Ballistics. There's a lot of different ones. We're going to have a battle between all the different ones. And really, man, I'll tell you what. You come to the seminar and we'll explain to you what the challenges are between the different apps. Which ballistic programs, which algorithms are the most correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
how do you know what the answer is?
To be honest, today we downloaded 2 other apps. We tried 2 other apps first, but I enjoyed the Hornady app. I won't say what else we downloaded that didn't
That's
work,
because the interface was pretty easy to use.
but
Yep.
the interface was a lot better.
And that was just on the fly because we're driving and it's getting dark and we have to shoot in this wintertime deal, right?
Yes.
But all that being said, there's so many details when it comes to internal ballistics and how people manage the weapon. How tight you hold on to the weapon is going to change all kinds of. There's so much stuff that changes it. And if any of those things are done differently in their laboratory settings, that's why when you use Horus versus Applied Ballistics versus Patagonia versus whoever, they come up with different answers with the exact same inputs. Because the math is different based on different laboratory and field testing. Some of them are thought out more smartly than others. And that's why I do have my preferences. This is the favorite one I've used so far. I really like JBM Ballistics. If I'm sitting down and I'm filling out ballistic tables, that one seems to be very good on a laptop version. JBM is what I've used for a long time and it's free. It's like $0, which is the really nice part. So I've used that and you can cut and paste it and all that kind of stuff onto your tables. We show you how to do all that stuff. But without scaring everybody, we can make it easier.
Yes.
Did you want to, what?
So just one thing. Somebody asked what I was using, and I don't think I brought out the rifle on this.
Okay,
Could I
so
grab it?
yeah, before we get too far into this project, we're going to continue to talk about the World War III setup in a minute and how to, all that stuff that sounded scary, guys, we're about to make it really, 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 really easy. Okay? You don't have to know any of that in a minute. But first, she's going to show you her rifle.
I'm just going to show you my rifle real quick. This
All
is
right.
what I was out
She's excited. She wants to show you the setup.
This is what I was using out in the cold weather today. It's my AB Arms. Most of you that have seen the channel have seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
But American built. And then we have...
Actually, and guess what, Casey? Did you know this?
Huh.
That has the exact same action and barrel as me right now.
Oh, really?
Yep, same barreled action. This particular one is on a Remington 700 AAC 308 as well with a 20-inch barrel. But it's in the American Built Arms chassis, and they send you the kit, and you can put it together. And actually, what's cool, because Casey's built different than like a big burly dude like myself, right?
Surprise.
Yeah, so she's got like smaller arms and different like ergonomics. This thing has a lot of ergonomic adjustments on it, which actually makes it kind of nice in her case. Like, you can get really short on that stock, and you can adjust it for, I mean, she's got a small face compared to my big skull and stuff. So, like, your cheek rest and all that has to have a lot of adjustability. So sometimes ergonomic preferences do come into mind as well. So you have to take all those different things into effect. We talk about this seminar. By the way, you better be there December 1st and 2nd. If you haven't seen one yet, it's awesome. And it's evolved tremendously. And we're thinking of ways of getting folks, if you've already been to one of this like early generation seminars, it's like there's going to be overlap, but like I actually take I take full control over the entire ballistics explanation, how to manage systems, and it's a whole different class. And it's something I think you guys would get a kick out of. So for those who have already taken one of the first generation seminars from 2017 particularly, we might make a deal with you guys. So if you contact Mrs. Rex through Rex Defense asking what that special deal might be, if you want to take it again, we'll give it to those people who have already taken it for the normal price, for a drastically reduced price, just so you can kind of see what we're up to, okay? Because I want to make sure that you have the full update of information, just the style of how we present information and everything has evolved too, as we've come to grips more with the pace and the current rhythm of the civilian market and sector's needs, right? And we'll talk about that after a while. Anyways, back to the World War III rifle,
All right,
okay?
back to it.
So, with all that stuff being said, I'm sorry, it's my fault. My batteries went out. Okay, it's like Murphy. Like I do a video and then it's whatever, right? I use high-tech tools to get precision shots done, especially over 1,000 yards. You can't really not do that. You have to take advantage of something like that. And applied ballistics in a Kestrel is pretty darn hard to beat. I like it a little better than the Horus myself. That's just my personal preference. All that being said, for a World War III rifle, for all practical applications, for those guys that came to the Combat Command Fire Class 2, you're going to see that the fieldcraft involved and the difficulty of being in real life and the necessity to reduce your exposure to the enemy, you can't be shooting multiple rounds. There's a lot of shooting sports out there that get a guy into a rhythm of just sending a lot of rounds downrange, and it almost is kind of dangerous from a tactical perspective to do that if you are a sneaky guy with a bolt-action rifle in combat. Okay? Is that an acronym for something? No, I don't remember. But like if you're like a sniper or something like that in World War III, it's going to be a bad deal. If you're just send some more rounds, guys. They're gonna return fire with bigger stuff than you got, and you're not gonna make it very far. Okay, so the Combat Command Fire guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You have to reduce your exposure to the enemy. You take your 1 or 2 shots, and then you're gone. You disappear, and that's how you maximize your dynamic effects. I'm gonna not go any further than that on that topic. If you want to know what we're talking about, we're gonna do one. I'm probably only gonna do that course once a year. Okay. The Combat Command Fire. It's we'll schedule another one for next year. Actually, I already got a schedule in on the website yet. Anywho, all that scientist stuff that we just got everyone scared about, running your systems, having your dope all figured out, having all this like crazy scientific knowledge, that's good. But there's also, by the way, what else do you need? So if you're running a conventional system for fighting, okay, if you don't know if you're gonna in a real life situation, you don't know if you're going to use this. There's a lot of guys in the war on terror, even especially in Iraq, where the sniper role really kind of evolved into more of a designated marksmanship role, where they're doing Overwatch for small units, right? You got like a squad level guys going into taking houses, and you got Overwatch position. It's a lot of what happened there. So all of a sudden your demands completely shifted. You have to have time on target right now, and you might be shooting a few rounds. You might be doing multiple target engagement. So you might have a DMR type situation evolve out of that. At the same time, you might need to take a shot at 1,000 yards. Like if you're in Trashkanistan or one of them places out there, you might have to do that. So you need to have more of a diversity. And the speed, the time on target, and all the other stuff needed to get that done effectively and quickly is paramount. And so with conventional, there's differences between like a World War III all-round rifle that you would use in combat versus a rifle configured for maximum precision like we have sitting over here. The Steyr SSG-08 with the current setup with the Schmidt and Bender on there, and all my data upon previous engagement all figured out, everything like that. You want to dial it in, and you want to get scientific, because after 1,000 yards you have to start really getting scientific. But inside 1,000 guys, you have to be fast. You have to be fast and effective, and you have to keep it simple. And the situation is going to unfold to where you're pooping your pants, so to speak. Okay, so I'm going to show you something. So we just talked with Casey here a second ago about the difficulty of running that stuff just in cold weather, for example. There's a lot of other field environments that's going to make running dope of any kind, or even looking at a table, difficult, because you're taking your eyes off the ball, okay? Plus, what else do you need? You need to know how far the target is. So what do you need? You need one of these. Grab that case right there. Thank you, sister. You're going to need something like this, which is awesome. This is what I use for my Surgeon 338 Lapua right now. Sig Sauer. You're going to need a laser beam. Okay? And you're going to have to point this at the bad guys. Hey, by the way, when you're laser beaming me earlier,
yeah,
I saw that.
That's cool.
Yeah, you were like, when I got it on video, it was
That's
like
so
flashing cool. Like a giant beam.
Bing, bing.
Like when it's pointed right at you and you hit
That's
it.
pretty cool.
And the sun was glinting off you too, so that didn't help. But first of all, you got to get out your critical piece of information is your range. So you have to do this. Oh crap, your battery's died. Now what are you going to do? guess. I mean, you could, but it's nice to have alternative ways of getting that accomplished, right? So you need to know how far it is, especially when you get out there. Inside 500 yards, you can kind of guesstimate and you'll still hit a 40-inch tall E-type target situation, right? Or a bad guy, right? But when you start getting out there, man, you have to totally exactly know how far it is. Your danger space gets closer and closer. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the Sniper 101 series on YouTube. It explains danger space. There's a whole video on that. It's very important to understand that. The farther and farther and farther you get away, when you start approaching maximum range with your 308, which, by the way, I chose that cartridge based on its logistical superiority over everything else in the world in terms of a bolt-action, medium-sized caliber rifle that you're going to find ammo for everywhere. It's going to be laying everywhere when Red Dawn happens. So you're never going to run out of ammo. You got to have ammo. You can't have some weird caliber that you can't carry your freaking reloading bench out there to the field with you, okay, guys? Sorry. But you're going to have ammunition compatibility in World War III. Now, if we're doing like competition or if we're doing ELR or special purpose applications, that might be different. But all that stuff being said, you're going to have to get your range of the target, which means you're going to either have to have a laser rangefinder, or Casey has a stadiometric range finding capability of the mil quad reticle, right? But then what do you have to do? Do you remember the formula?
You have to know how big your target is.
Okay, then what do you do?
And then you have to...
Live. See, the pressure of the live stream even made her forget.
It's making me nervous.
Yeah, the nervousness. Think how nervous you're going to be when there's mortars coming at you.
Stop. You hold.
Yep, see, exactly my point. Thank you very much for helping me with that. She had that plan. She actually doesn't know the answer. She was just pretending like she did for a second there. So the way you would range a target with a mil dot reticle or a mil scale reticle is you take the size of the target in inches times 25.4 if you want meters, okay? And divide that by however many mils it takes up in the scope. That'll give you the distance to the target in meters. If you want it in yards, then you take the target size in inches times 27.77. Take it out as many sig figs as you want. Doesn't matter. You're not going to estimate it that close anyways using your dots, okay? So it's limited in effectiveness, but the problem is you have to do a little bit of math, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to do a little bit of math, and that becomes difficult, right?
Yes, especially when things are going on. I mean, I can't even remember what to do when things are going on.
Yeah, when things are going on, you can't remember what to do. Absolutely true. And so, also, windage, right? What are you going to do with your wind? What's your wind hold off? What's your wind hold off at 600 yards in this 308 with a 10 mile an hour crosswind?
3 mils towards the wind, about.
Into the wind?
Into the wind.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
A little over 3 mils, but really.
You got me. All right, that's pretty close. It depends on the atmospherics, right, guys? So there's all kinds of details if you're making a precision shot. But for all practical applications, you have to know your distance, you have to know your wind, you have to be able to range your target, know your wind, and then what's your dope? Let's say, hold on, let's say 800 meters on your 308. What's your dope?
800 meters 308 is gonna be okay. So if it's 600, it's like 3 clips up. So it'd be like 5 clips up.
5 mils?
Yeah.
It's cool, guys. She's our beta test. She's learning, man. It's cool. She didn't memorize all her dope yet. We never made her do that yet.
No.
And she's under pressure from the live stream. Hey, we do that at the live fire, by the way, too. So if you're coming to live fire, be prepared for a little bit of being on the spot with your dope after day 1. Because we like to make sure that we have our dope up here, too. See? Not that kind of dope. The good kind.
You want to make sure
our information. Our, from shooting stuff. Our shooting stuff information is very important to have. Okay, so that's more science that you have to do on top of knowing all your inputs and all that other stuff we just talked about, right?
Yes.
There's a solution to the problem, okay? And actually, it's why I'm running this deal here. This is what the heck is this thing called? This is the new one, man. It's from Primary Arms. The ACSS is the Advanced Combat Sighting System Reticle. And this is the HUD DMR, which is my actual favorite, okay? And this will give you, in the reticle, range finding capabilities. You simply bracket a target shoulder to shoulder. And then if it fits in there, that's where you hold over. It gives you your ballistic drop compensation. And this is standardized for atmosphere, for standard 175 grain ammo, what you're going to find. I think it goes out. Let's see how far it goes out. Ready for this? I forget. Yeah, she goes out to 1,000. So out to 1,000 yards, guys, in like 1 second, you basically know how far they are within 1 second, within the amount of precision you need to hit a large target, which is the E-type or a dude, right? So you go out to 1,000 or 500 or 600. You simply look at the reticle, and we'll do the full review on this scope here very soon. And you can look at the, they have the 4-14 model, which was a bit more affordable. This one's a little bit more money, but this ain't near as heavy as the 6-30, okay? The 6-30 model was cool. But when you're using this reticle, first off, you can range your targets immediately. You can do a crotch to head measurement. They have little wings coming off the side. And so you can put the bottom of the line on the dude's crotch and the top of the line on the head. And, or I mean the E-type target's head. And it'll have a little number corresponding there telling you exactly how far it is. So you can range height or width, okay? And once you know that, you just hold on the BDC reticle. And I am not going to bore you guys with this. You know that I've verified this multiple times on the various reviews, but that actually is calibrated properly. They do pay attention to their focal length and the quality control they have in terms of the reticle, being that the entire gold of this system is not because of the scope. It's the reticle that's in this scope that actually makes it good. Once you get it set up, you get it zeroed properly, and we'll show you how to do that. If you want to come to the DMR class we're going to come out with, you're set. It also has dots for your wind hold-offs, okay? So you don't have to guess. If you got a 5 or 10 mile an hour wind, you know exactly where to hold, and that's adjacent to the BDC, okay? You also have target leads. They figured, I think it was the Corps, the Marine Corps, I don't know if it's in their manual, but their kind of rule of thumb is that a mover, a target that's moving, that a fully laden swallow, if you want to call it that, but a fully loaded down combat dude with all his junk strapped on, who's sprinting across, I hit my microphone, sorry guys, who's sprinting across the alley, is running at 8.6 miles an hour, according to all the averages. But that's better than nothing, right? I mean, is that actually exactly how fast you're going? Nah. But it's going to give you a heck of a lot better idea than just kind of guessing, right? So you have your leads in there as well. And then, of course, if you come back to 3 power, you can still use this at like pretty darn close range. And there's a very large, easy to see, illuminated aiming point that you can use for stuff inside 100. Because in a DMR roll, if you're sharpshooting out to 1,000 yards with a 308, it's stupid how deadly this thing is. So this gives you your range. So by putting the scope on here, you take your rangefinder and you say, I don't really need this because the rangefinder's in the scope. Then you say, I need my ballistic app /phone/Kestrel. And you say, I don't really need that because I'm only shooting 1,000 yards and I've got a 308 and it's all in the scope. Now, you can still use the little turrets on top and click it, okay? So that's what's cool about this optics. So you guys know that I've done that. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to mount it. We're going to show you how to mount the scope on the World War III rifle, okay? This is going to be fun. You ready for this, Casey?
Yes.
Hold on a minute. See if I can break this. Okay. Now this bipod from Accutech, I got this from Accuracy Solutions. It's actually stout enough I can just use it as a bench, like as a vise. I'm going to set it like right here on the table. Ooh, I don't want to... Yeah,
Here,
hold that for a second. Let me get my beloved Steyr out of the way. And by the way, the review on this sucker is coming soon. We've been teasing you guys with it. This thing is incredible if you have a little bit more of a budget type deal going on. But I'll set this over here for the time being so I don't knock it off the table. Okay. All right.
Da-da-da.
Right, this is the part that might require you to assist me in terms of driving the camera a little bit.
Okay. Do you
And
want
so,
me to flip this?
oh, hey, that's the other thing I need. So you can throw away all your environmental data collection stuff. You can use the old analog. And this scope will kill bad guys out to 1,000. If you have any idea, like you'd bump it up or down a couple clicks based on your density changes of your atmosphere. So this is the other thing. My kingdom for a shooting sock that actually works good. Stay tuned. I think we found finally one that measures up to my endorsement standards. That's coming soon. Okay?
All right, ready?
Yeah, right. We're getting close here. Okay. All right. Are you ready to roll?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to probably do some close-ups here so they can see exactly what I'm going to show them. What mounting equipment did I use on this rifle? So I went with Badger. Now, really, there's not a lot of... well, we'll tell that story later. I went with Badger because I like Badger. I got this from Optics Planet, okay? They sell everything. This is the telescopic sight Picatinny 30-minute of angle ramp. So it gives me that modularity if I'm going to use a scope that you need to dial on, okay? And this is for Remington M700 short action. Hopefully it works good. We'll see in a second, okay? It's a steel base, okay? There's a front end and a back end. You want the fat part in the back, so it's ramped like this. If it's ramped like this, it's not helping you out, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to set her on there. Okay, it looks like it'll work. Now, I like steel on steel because you have two materials that expand and contract at exactly the same rates, and it doesn't take much of the differential expansion rate of metals to make screws come loose. And actually, this is set up pretty smart. It just fits right on here pretty darn good. Okay? And I got my screws. Now, on the Badger deal, it's telling me, if I read this, can you see this? How tight do I torque it down? 15 inch-pounds. So, how does Rex like to do this? Well, I used to like to get her Guden tight, right? That's not it. What am I doing? Aha! I know what to do. This is part of my kit that I always keep on me. And there goes something I probably needed. Don't worry about it. I'm on it. I think that's just a Phillips head. All right. But this is the Fix-It Sticks. You can go to Fix-It Sticks. I think there's a coupon you can use from Rex 5 or Rex 10 or something like that to get it for cheaper. But they're a very consistent, convenient way to go. And if you can see, I have all the different torque deals in here. So I'm going to find my one that's appropriate for this application real quick here. Can they see what's going on? Do we have any questions while I'm looking for my tools?
Yeah, there was a few of them. Let's go.
So it'll take me a second to find my screws and stuff. How you guys doing?
Okay. 2 different types of metal may cause corrosion. Let me go back up here.
Okay, so we got tiny little screws. I want to show you this, guys. Come and dig this. We have different lengths on these screws. You see that? And sometimes they screw up and they send you the wrong screws. Did that happen this time? We'll see. But there's ones for the back end that are longer and ones for the front end that are shorter. Okay? So we got our screws. Yep.
How many inches is the barrel on this build?
This is a 20-inch factory Remington 700 AAC pattern deal. 20 inches. And on a 308, the proportions of the cartridge and the burn rate of the powder are very forgiving for barrel length. So you can actually go a pretty short barrel on this particular cartridge and not lose a huge amount of performance like you would on other platforms.
All right. Let's see. Having fun.
Oh, I'm having fun big time.
There
Finally putting this thing together. I've been waiting forever for it, huh?
There's a question about your bag. Is it rice in there?
Actually, it is, yes.
Nice.
Now, that's a good discussion, and that's something that I'm learning more and more. For years, I've used Paver's sand because the angular shape of each sand particle would make it lock together as one unit more easily. It would maintain a higher angle of repose, as they say in geology, okay? Which means that, hold on one second.
Oh, he
Would
said,
it-
what is the barrel length, though?
It's 20-inch
20
barrel.
inches, yeah.
It's 20 inches.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Exactly 20 inches within 1 atom's. No, I don't know. It's a 20-inch barrel, guys.
Okay. And so, what about the paver sand?
What about the what now?
Paver sand?
Oh, the paver sand. So for years, I would just fill a sock with pavers, sand. Sometimes if these screws are the wrong length, it'll drag on the bolt lugs. So I'm just making sure I'm not crazy here with my screw sizes here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to swap this out. I think they sent me one of the wrong size screws. Sometimes that happens in real life.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because there's supposed to be long ones in the back and short ones in the front. But maybe they have something different going on than they lately have. But I would use paver sand because it locks together. But the problem with paver sand is what? It's freaking heavy, right? For gosh sakes. So it's a very, very heavy deal to carry around. So you can dump it out and then fill it back up with whatever kind of dirt or gravel you got. So what I did is I made an alternative deal, which was if you buy a bag, like a 2-pound bag of rice, and you don't want the slippery kind, you want the grippy kind with the sharp pointy corners. If you look at it on a small scale, you want angular edges. You don't want it rounded. If it's rounded, like guys use pellets, what do you call them, airsoft pellets all the time? Mm-hmm. Maybe this magnet will grab it out of there. Come on, little fella. For God's sakes. The reality.
Only when you're
Oh, the reality. Someone help me from it. What were we just talking about?
airsoft beads.
Yeah, some guys use airsoft beads because it's waterproof, it ain't going to expand and all that stuff. And you can get it at Walmart and all that kind of cool stuff like that there, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the problem with that is they're round. So if it's round, guess what? It's going to...
bounce?
Well, it's going to all be rolling on itself, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be difficult to, when you squeeze that bag around, it's just sliding all over. It's always squishy. If it's got angular particles, then it grips together. And actually, one of my compadres, Mr. Dr. Gary Fouts, one of my marksmanship instructors, ran it through an oat crusher, some airsoft pellets, I think. Was that top secret, Gary? I'm sorry if it was, bro. His proprietary, unpatented system of the crushing the beads. But that makes it lock together a heck of a lot better. It's just having angular particles. I did find an outfit not too long ago. Now I'm going to the 15-inch pounds. And I'm making sure we're good here. So I'm using my fixed sticks here to make sure that it's properly torqued. Now, we'll get back to that bead question in a minute, but why did I not use Loctite? Anyone remember the answer?
Somebody asked about that. Why didn't you use Loctite?
Good question. All right, zoom in real close here, guys. All right, so just tighten up on the action. Is that what you're seeing right there? Okay. This surface on this rifle is a matte kind of finished surface. So is the surface on this base. They're both made out of steel, and they both have a finish on them that's a matte. By matte, I mean non-reflective. It's like not shiny. Shiny surfaces typically are very smooth. That's why they're shiny. This, if I would zoom in on it with a microscope, you'd see a bunch of little tiny bumps, okay? Because of the finish, right? And so it's a real fuzzy kind of like texture to it. Now that finish, when I first mount this on here, is going to squish a little bit. When this gun first starts to recoil, eventually this mount is going to settle in, okay? And so I will have to retighten those screws. And then I'll have to shoot it some more, let recoil hit it a few more times, and I'll have to tighten it again and let it settle in again. Does that make sense? Okay, you following me? And so I don't like to tighten it down with Loctite. If I were to Loctite it right now, the subsurfaces on this mount to this receiver are going to loosen up. But when I come to check the tightness, the screw will be tight. And I will not know that it is freaking loose in between here in the action. And so this deal's loose, but the screw's tight. Does it make sense? So I like to get a few rounds through it, or you can expedite the process. If I loosen up these screws and rub it back and forth on there, you can basically do the same thing. and then or hit it with a mallet or tap it around a little bit. Give it introduce it a little artificial shock. You can use you want to use steel because steel will mangle us. We can use like a brass hammer or something like that and just kind of give it a few taps both ways without breaking the screws off. You don't want to do that deal, okay? Or if one side to side, actually what I'm going to do, and I'm going to come through this again just to make triple sure she's good for right now, because I did wiggle it around a little bit. And I did get a little bit of turn on that just from what I just did right there. It's like tuning a guitar, man. When you first put the strings on a guitar, you got to get all the slack out of it. You tune it, and then you play it for 2 seconds, and it's out of tune instantly, right? And so you got to keep pulling on the strings. It takes like an hour to get it in tune, unless you know those tricks where you grab like the string and you just pull on it a bunch and you get all the slack out of it, and then tune it that way and keep pulling on it and tuning it until it doesn't go out of tune when you pull on it. That's what I'm doing with the scope mount, okay? So that it's tight. But in reality, once I decide that I'm married permanently to this Badger scope mount, which I'll probably be, however, with if in reality, guys, I'm going to be running a lot of different proprietary equipment on here. I might change the configuration of this rail. So I'm not going to glue it on there. But if this is actually my World War III battle rifle, which I think I'll dedicate it to that, I got it. My other rifle is going to be my test rifle, the Moeller Works barrel. That thing shoots incredibly well. That'll put 10 rounds all touching together like under a dime. But with this thing, this is actually going to be my Red Dawn rifle. I just want to make darn sure everything works properly on it before I permanently attach this on here. Once this rifle has proven itself not to suck, in some way, you never know what could happen. But if I have to take this in the gunsmith and I glue this thing with automotive like adhesive compound or something like that to this base, which is what I probably will end up doing. But once this thing is proven, once I got this barrel on there, I'll get pretty permanent on that scope base to the receiver. And you can use Black Max 3. Come to the seminar. We talk all about that kind of stuff at the seminar, guys. Okay, so that's mounted on there for now. Okay. Anyone know which rings I chose? The man in the book once said, a very, very good preaching man who I like to listen to what he had to say. Don't mix like new wine and old wine skins or vice versa, right? Where's my old stabby? You got old stabby?
It's over there under my gloves, I think.
Okay. Oh, oh geez, I almost cut my fingers off. Did you see that? Trying to like learn 900 different kinds of knives, 900 different kinds of guns. Now this has some kind of assembly or like long-term grease component on it inside the bag. All right, we got the Badger Usmc rings here. And I can read the box for you so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Come on over, guys. There's the NSN number. Scope ring height, 30 millimeter diameter. Height is 1.031 inches. Rifle DMR. There's all the information. Can you see it? That's my rings. They're Badger rings. Okay, guys? I like to put Badgers on Badgers, Weasels on Weasels. No, actually, I don't like to do that. Never mind. We're not... Erase stupid live streams. I can't edit that.
It's fine.
All right, here. Let's put it back over here for a second, Casey. And then... wait, put the camera back over here. On the stand, yep. And then we'll just flip it around real quick.
Okay, hold on. I'll go
How do you do this? Do you know what to do?
like that
There we go.
and that.
What I'm going to have to do, if you could be so kind as to grab me a paper towel, because I have to get the grease off of here. It's nice to put cosmoline on there. I think that is some kind of cosmoline style deal. There's no, that's the plates down in the drawers right here. Hey, we're live, baby.
This one?
Nope. Oh, yeah, yep. Grab that green washcloth. Oh, you're awesome. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, if I had a blow dryer, I think that I can make the stuff run off like water. By the way, free tip, pro tip, guys. You ever have a military rifle that was so packed with cosmoline it took you 24 hours to clean it? I have a solution for you. Heat it up with a blow dryer. It'll run off like water. It'll just run right off. I ain't gonna get out the blow dryer. It'll be too noisy for you guys. What I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of degreasing this a little bit. Let's answer some questions while I'm degreasing my rings.
How about, are you guys putting the 101 or 102 series on a memory stick for sale? Would you do a series on loading ammo?
Yeah, so YouTube cracked down on a lot of stuff on that. They did actually start editing the 101 series already. And so that being said, I will make that available for sale at some point. However, I'm such a perfectionist, I want to make sure it's done perfectly. But in all reality, we're going to figure something out with that, guys. We're actually thinking on having some kind of online training too. That's a possibility down the road, the very near future, where you can pay for, like, instead of coming, if you can't make it to a class, we can do in-person consultation / training for the seminar style part of the learning process, right? Okay, that one's good. That being said, a part of that package would be sending you like materials. So I would like to produce a really nicely done 101 in a more concise form. Now, the reason that the Sniper 101 series was so vastly comprehensive, I have reasons for that. Some of them are top secret. I ain't going to tell you what they are. But some of them I can tell you what they are. But from a point of view, if you'd start on video number 17 and you didn't see video number 16, there's certain things you have to review quickly and cover to let people know that those issues exist. Otherwise, they're going to miss out on critical components. So they're very comprehensive. And key points, if you study human psychology, or if you study how education has been perfected over the last few hundred years and few thousand years, key points have to be repeated and stressed and done over and over again, in all reality, for people to absorb them. So that's just reality right there, okay? And so that's why they're a very comprehensive video series. That being said, yes, I will make a more concise deal, because then you'll have all the videos in one spot, either on a thumb drive or a DVD or something like that. And so that will be fun. But that's a winter project. And plus, I'm in the process of still getting some help in some other areas. Putting together the training business. I'm a one-man show, and I run 2 outfits now. It has been, where'd my thing? There it is. Fix It Sticks. FixItSticks.com. Okay.
So also, somebody said, I hope you don't mind, I downloaded it. It's okay if you guys download the 101 series.
Yeah.
It's
I put that out there for a reason. You guys can do that. Just don't be selling it or putting your name on it, like some people like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, remember that time we did that video where we had to do a cease and desist in video form? Because there was like dudes like where the hell were they from?
Like all
Bulgaria
like
or something like that,
US,
with my name on some forum.
Yep. And they were pretending to be him, so we did an imposter video.
Yeah, there was an imposter running around saying he was Rex, and just like, I mean, I've found 8 of them.
Yeah.
It's
so
if
you
short of doing that, you have my permission, especially for all my American compadres there, to download the videos within legal parameters. I don't know what the law is. You need to read the law. I don't care, but if the cops care, then probably take it up with them. I don't know how that works.
But we're not going to come after you for downloading.
I'm not going to come after you. I don't know what the laws are.
Yep.
Maybe YouTube thinks they own that stuff. I don't know how that works. So I'm going to just kind of get a base. I'm guessing I'm going to have to move this a little differently. So we got all kinds of mountability here. I'm guessing right about there is going to be about right. We'll try it. We'll try it and see. Now, does it give me specs for this thing here? Torque, 15 to 18. Oh, for the cap screws, 65 inch-pounds for the cross bolt. Okay, I'm going to take my Fix-It stick. Hey, did I lose my... Oh, there it is right there. So I'm going to take my Fix-It sticks right here, okay? And I'm going to switch ratcheting. Now, these are nice because they're very consistent, okay, guys? Now I'm moving to 65 inch-pounds. Different ratcheting mechanism. I'm going to put on my little bolt deal here, and I'm going to tighten up this side for this deal. I'm going to go a little bit. And again, under recoil, guys, if I was Loctiting this right now, On a recoil, what you're going to find is stuff is going to shift a little bit and it'll loosen up. So you need to shoot it a few times. Man, that sucker's good.
A guy asked about, like, with your silencer, do you use Loctite on that if you leave it on your gun long enough, or would you not?
On the fast attach deal?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm sure that's what he's
on your
asking about.
silencer, yeah.
So I have the 3-prong AAC 51 tooth fast attach deal on the end of the bore. This deal was specifically custom configured by my gunsmith to be really tight on there, okay? However, I would use rock set. Some guys say, you don't use rock set. It's crazy, you can never get it undone. Well, if you read the instructions or if you understand chemistry, there's different ways to get different stuff undone. The trick to rock set, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correctly, is water. Guys will heat it up with a torch. Dude, rock set was invented to be fireproof because it's on a silencer and those things get really hot. That's why they made it like that. So you're never going to get that sucker loose with heat. But what will work is water. So always, and dudes don't like doing this, but always read the instructions, guys. Always read the instructions. All right, let's do some more questions and answers while we're having the fun time.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody had asked something else here. People love your shoot the can video.
Of course they do. Hey, when you take the RX seminar or the Zero to Deadly, and then you make your way to a live fire, Zero to Deadly is our new class. That's just a hardcore field seminar instruction class. You bring your rifle to the 100-yard line, we shoot, and then we do a lesson. A seminar lesson. So it's like the seminar portion that you would hear on the day one of the seminar, the internal ballistics and part of the equipment part of the seminar. And I'm going to keep this aligned. I don't want to mix matches. So I'm going to set this right here so I can put it on in the exact order that it came on. I'm superstitious like that. I'm sure it doesn't make a difference for all practicality's sake, but I strive for perfection, baby. That is why they call me the Rex, the King. All right, quiz question. Someone tell me in the language Tiborosaurus Rex, if you actually figure it out. Translate that for me in English. Because names, in the study of nameology, if you've seen Boondock Saints, to acquire my bonehead crown, what does that mean? Anyone? If anyone tells you an answer and they get it right,
all right,
you might win a prize. I know one of you. I gave the answer to one of you guys once.
Somebody asked, what do you think about drop-in triggers?
A what trigger?
Drop-in.
Drop-in trigger. What does that mean?
Oh, that's just what they said. Somebody mentioned a heated trigger. If there's a trigger maker out there that wants to make a heated trigger, I am down. That would be great for cold weather shooting. Throwing it out there.
Don't say it.
Don't say that out loud.
That's stuff we need to invent and be
Okay,
millionaires.
We'll make
What are you
it.
saying that out loud for?
That would be a great idea, though.
Quit inventing stuff on public forums. Gosh darn it, Casey. Kids never listen nowadays, I'll tell you what. Crazy kids.
What are the best rings for AR-10 flat top platform?
So if you run, good question. I'm putting steel mount on here because I have a steel receiver. And because it's a steel mount, I put steel rings on there. I don't mind carrying a little more weight. I'm not that big of a sissy. I can handle it. However, on an AR-10, what you're going to find out is that I like to have metals of similar compositions attached to themselves. If I was to get Western with some steel rings on an aluminum receiver and I start tightening it down to torque, you're going to mangle stuff because steel's going to beat aluminum every time. So I would use aluminum on aluminum, steel on steel. That's just my theory.
This one's right? Holy Place Lizard King?
How?
Did you get
Someone got it. Tiborosaurus Rex, Holy Place Lizard King. And we talked about that in the shed. On the last one, you guys missed the interview in the shed. Okay? Yes, that's because a lot of people think that maybe I'm the king of the reptilians or something like that. You ever hear about them guys? You ever watch David Icke? You guys know what I'm talking about? I like that stuff. That's interesting.
So that was Kenneth
Flying saucers.
Llewellyn. Just
What
FYI. That was
Sasquatches.
I got it.
That's what we talk. Chupacabras. Hey, we have a chupacabra interdiction scenario that you will go through at the seminar class if you come. December 1st and 2nd, guys. Las Vegas. We're gonna party like it's 1999. You know what that means?
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, good times.
1999?
It's a song.
Oh, I thought that was like
Well, I actually, you guys, I don't know where you guys were at in 1999. We're going to have campfire stories. In 1999, I was on stage at a, what do you call them, New Year's party?
I'm not sure.
In a coal mining town. And we were playing in the band, and we were playing the Prince song, Gonna party like it's 1999, or however it goes. I know. That's literally what I did as the clock hit 1999. For serious story, guys. Okay, now I'm going to get this sucker level. It's important to get this kind of reticle level. Okay, I'm going to crank it up. Any more good questions real quick while we're playing with this?
Can you please explain what the term flyer means?
Flyer?
Like, what's a flyer?
Okay, good question. So if you're new to shooting and you have all of a sudden you're shooting a group at a paper, right? And you're just boom, boom, they're all going to the same spot, and you have a bullet that just goes way off to the side, and then it goes back to where it was. That's commonly referred to as a flyer. And we talk about that in detail in the seminar as well. That's usually an equipment issue or a firing position issue. And when you learn the science of internal ballistics to the 9th degree or the 50th degree or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what degrees there are for internal ballistics hierarchy, but when you master it, it's timeless information. It never expires. As long as they're shooting guns with recoil that actually are subject to harmonic anomalies, and that affects the system, until we invent lasers, okay, guys? The seminars that I do are based on science. It's not based on the current fads or technology. I'm not an expert at all the new doodads, but I understand the science of doodads and how they should work, okay? So I can't memorize the serial numbers on the XB47X9, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So, but we talk about that in the class quite a lot, is the science of why your gun does what it does and then how to make it not do that and what to look for in equipment, because equipment evolves quickly, even within a model, right? The Schmidt & Bender PM2 is a great example. Top-notch, most vetted optic in the world for terms of military applications. I dropped my mag. It was like funny. Sometimes you get a batch that wasn't as good and they have to correct themselves. So products evolve over time and you can't get behind on that. And if you only go off of reviews alone without understanding the science of what makes stuff the way it is, just making sure I'm not crazy on how I got this set up here before I tighten her down a little bit, then you'll know how to manage your equipment. I can take a glance at a chassis because I understand the science of internal ballistics, and you will too once you take a class on it. I can just take a glance at a chassis and I'll tell you what will happen when you shoot it. I already know the answers because it's the same story over and again with different situations. And so that's what happens when you gain a lot of experience playing with stuff that don't work, which I spent some guys go to Harvard to get educations on stuff they spent. I don't know, what does it cost to go to Harvard or something like that?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Harvard.
I bet you I spent almost that much just screwing around out in the woods trying to figure out how to make these stupid things work properly.
That's why you guys got to go to the seminar.
Yeah.
Save your money.
Yeah, I can't afford it. Oh, okay. I can't afford to come, Rex. But okay.
Well, it's better
Buy
than spending
50
all
rifles, 9,000 scopes, chase your tail on reloading for 8 million years straight like I did, and then we'll have this conversation again. You'll be like, dude, you were right. I'll be
I
like,
wish I
I
just
know.
went.
I was right. I could have saved you Like you'll find stuff in there that's going to save you a lot of cash. I promise that deal. I mean, it's funny. Like there's so many issues that will have you chasing your tail, and it's not that we're smart or anything like that. We just did it a lot, and so that's what we're going to share with you guys when you come to class like that, right?
Yes.
And so I forgot what I was talking about because I'm now paying attention to this deal and I have a tunnel brain on this task.
All right. Do you want a different question?
I do.
Rex said, what is your opinion, from Jim Slade, by the way, what is your opinion on the MDTESS chassis?
Again, show it to me, and within 2 seconds,
Right.
it's funny because like these guys at the live fires, that there's so many different pieces of equipment with subtle variations to them, and they continuously evolve. And plus, even at that, the quality control changes. If one dude at the factory got fired and they had to hire some new kid that day to come in there and run the ball mill on the bedding part of the chassis or however they're building it, or hit one wrong button or drank too much coffee that day and forgot a detail, all of a sudden that chassis, which I could say is good or bad, could be better or worse, because that's reality. When you look at internal ballistic subtleties, that's reality. And so really when you're talking about chassis differences, from an accuracy or internal ballistics perspective, I like simplicity in general. So that's what I typically look for. If it's not simple, then it has to be executed with perfection or close to that. And that Steyr down there, by the way, when that review comes out, I never seen a chassis I really liked a lot. There's only like a couple that I really like. Some of them are for ergonomic, like superiority. Like the Mirage ULR is incredible for the way its ergonomics are set up for heavy recoiling rifles for ELR applications. I love the Macmillan. Oh, that's another reason this. I think we got it done, dude. I think we're set.
That's it.
Almost.
There was one other thing. People want to know when the next DMR class is.
DMR. So if you go on rexdefense.com, it has a current training schedule. I've been like on the airplanes and roads for the last few weeks doing meetings with all kinds of cool cats and stuff like that. And so I have not had the chance to get in there and mess with that. And also we're coming out with a new website here very soon. It's like in the works literally tomorrow or something. I'll be getting that finished up. But the website does still have the classes on it. And those, if you buy the class, it's going to it's smooth transition over. So don't hesitate to get in the class. We do have the DMR for sale. It's adjacent to our ELR class next year. By the way, with Eduardo, my very good friend Eduardo, a man who's been doing this way longer than me and has a treasure trove of tips and information. A 1 hour conversation with Eduardo to me is worth like $1,000. And he's going to be at the ELR class with us next year for the whole time.
All right.
Plus us hanging
And
out.
then a
We'll keep it
reminder.
entertaining. Eduardo's fun too. You'll like him. He's a classy dude, huh?
Just a reminder for people that are just tuning in, there's also a seminar that's going to be held December 1st and 2nd in Vegas.
That's right.
Vegas is really affordable to get a plane ticket to, in case you didn't know. It's generally pretty easy to get to Vegas, so if you're looking to get into a class, don't want to spend a bunch of money on air travel, this is probably the one for you. Check it out. RexDefense.com. Okay, go ahead. I had to plug it.
It is complete.
Dun, 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 dun.
The World War III. Now let me adjust my cheek piece here. And we'll show you how to do this again in the live fire. Got more questions?
Yeah.
It's perfect. I'm so smart. I know exactly where to put it.
How does ballistic software handle spin drift?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty simple formula. If you look it up, I did a video on it, I believe. And it's a simple formula you can do. And just watch the video, Snapper 101. I go over the science of it.
Just
It's a function of the length of the bullet, the shape, really. And there's different formulas and sub-variations of the math that guys do with their different, when each different ballistic software that comes out, they kind of have to like redo the math so that they can pretend like they own mathematics and things like that. And so the basic idea is that it is a function of how fast it's spinning, how much traction it has on the air, how long it is, how wide it is. Actually, in reality, the style of rifling even has an effect on it. So I'm sure there's guys perfecting that as we sit in these chairs right now. But if you watch the 101 series, I go into the science of it. And most ballistic calculators now will give you your spin drift. Pretty much all of them. And usually, if you want a clue, guys, once you hit 700 yards, give it a click. 8 or 900 or 1,000 on most cartridges, maybe 2 clicks. Dial it in on your windage. And then just hold off your windage. It's not like a huge deal. When you get into extreme long ranges, then you have to pay attention a lot to it. Okay? Not to be conflated with Coriolis drift, which is a whole different thing, which is even way smaller than that.
Cool.
All right, guys, you ready? You ready for this? So what we have here, to recap, this is now finally completed. All I have to do is bore sight this bad boy, which is going to be easy. You know how to bore sight. I think I've done the video. Okay, and we got the Macmillan A5 stock. Now, why did I go with Macmillan? Many reasons. Simplicity. Okay, look at how simple it is. From the recoil lug, pardon me, sister, all the way to the front where the bipod is attached. Is there any moving parts or attachments or things that can come loose on here? No. Do things come loose on chassis? Yes. I won't embarrass those guys, but like when you come to these live fire classes, man, every time stuff comes loose. It's normal. It happens. I mean, it's life. But this can't come loose because it's one big giant chunk. See, recoil lug is right underneath here, so all the recoil energy is transferred into the stock here, and it comes back. This is a very dense, very heavy duty, ultra heavy duty material, all the way back into the butt stock, all the way through here into my shoulder. And the way this is designed, it's actually pretty aligned on the axis recoil. You got the recoil axis, the axis of the bore straight back into your shoulder. It's not as good as maybe Mirage ULR in terms of getting it centered on your shoulder, but it's a lot better than the old classic style hunting rifle stocks. So Macmillan was one of the first ones to really evolve it in that direction, making sure that the butt stock was higher so that the recoil comes more straight back. And you can adjust these butt pads and stuff too, guys, for that. So another reason is when it's super cold, right? Can you witness? Can I hear an amen, sister?
Amen!
When it's super cold out and you're grabbing on metal, guess what happens?
Your fingers freeze.
Your
whole hand
froze.
freeze. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh.
You're froze. Touch the rifle, you're frozen. Also, I have a theory, a hypothesis that's top secret. And I think that harmonically speaking, this dampens harmonic reverberations. Whereas a solid metal chassis will ring more like a bell. Bing! Because it's really hard. I think that harmonic waves enjoy traveling back and forth through metal components more than they do fiberglass components. Okay? That being said, pretty heavy duty, huh? Hey, is there lasagna over there?
There is lasagna. I smell food, guys.
Perfect timing. All right,
Time.
I'll finish my preaching on the stock. For certain applications, I like chassis. That being said, I always bet them anyways, right? And sometimes my main preference with certain chassis is ergonomics. Like you can really get it perfected for you. Some dudes are shaped weird, right? Or certain applications, they get a big Magnum. My Mirage ULR, I love it. This Steyr right down here, the SSG, incredible ergonomic flexibility, but they got it done right. So it's hard to get it done right on a chassis. There are a few that I like. The rest, maybe I won't name, but they come loose. And as some of my dear friends may be watching, no, I won't mention who you are. It can happen at a time when it's like, oh man, that's really important that didn't happen. But luckily for those particular people, it turned out okay. Because I understand what's going on. It's okay. Inside scoop. All right. And so you got that, the harmonic dampening capability, one piece. There's nothing on here that's going to wiggle loose and suck. It's going to be good.
Solid.
And it's not going to catch on everything. Dig this. Footprint, okay? I can pull this sucker out of my vehicle and get the town on it without snagging on everything. A lot of them chassis designs are like with all the stuff hooked on there. Basically, you can tie a rope around one of these things or on your sling, and you can just throw the rifle over one of them walls, and it's like one of them treble hook deals, and then you can pull yourself and climb the wall because of all the crap hanging off there. Guaranteed it's getting stuck in something. So I like the clean, refined lines and simplicity. There's beauty in simplicity. Anytime you have to really add components, that's a Band-Aid on the design if you talk to engineers. You can watch the podcast with Charlie and Mike Precision. He's got some of his cats are trained engineers, and they brought up that point. So I like to credit people with the stuff that they've done as much as I can remember to do. But everyone learns everything they know from someone else. It's a reality. Quote of Nico Detour.
So 2 things.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have a couple people just tuning in. They want you to just run through what's
All right.
on here.
This will replay, guys. This will replay. But to finalize in a more concise fashion, this is the Rex approved, zero thinking, zero math doing, killing everything out to 1,000 yards with the battle rifle with ammo that's available across the face of the earth type system. You ready for it? We got a Remington 700 because of its modular compatibility with everything in the world. You'll be able to go tomorrow to the gun store and buy this action. So I got a Remington 700 AAC in 308 with a heavy 20-inch barrel. Okay, threaded on the end. I got, and we talked about this earlier. If you don't know what I'm doing, I got a fast attach deal there. Woo! That was a real good one. Sorry about your speakers. They had a fast attach deal on there so that I can run this. Why do I want to run this and not some direct attach? Because my priority in that situation is going to be modularity, right? Because I also got this, which I'm going to be running around, my little Mark 18, and so I want to be able to switch this around. Plus, if I ever blow this up, I want to be able to find them. Very, very highly modular, highly widely available. So that's why the muzzle attachment there is as it is, okay? So we have a factory Remington 700 AAC platform, Macmillan A5. This is the Macmillan Flage Camouflage. If you call Macmillan, I'm guessing they'll tell you exactly what configuration it is. I have a Stay-Nag scope rail deal, or scope rail down on the bottom so that I can attach my Accuracy Solutions Jeez, Martha, pardon-moi. Okay, so I can attach this deal. I always hit stuff with this. You better watch out. Could get dangerous.
Dangerous.
Mrs. Rex right over there knows about that deal. On accident, though. I'm just clumsy. Okay? So I can pull this out, this carbon fiber deal, extend my bipod, or I can attach any diversity of equipment. I can use my super fancy detach, what do you call them? AccuTac.
I was going to say bipod.
Yeah, bipod. This is the AccuTac. There's different models. I like they have like a 50 caliber model, which is awesome for getting you really low. Actually, the axis of these legs should preferably point at the axis of the bore is ideal for recoil control. But anyways, this is not going to break. And these are available at Accuracy Solutions as well, along with the TAC 3. That's where I got that. And you do want to use the Stay-Nag configuration rails. And then I have a Badger base, Badger bottom metal, Badger rings. Watch the video after it's up. You can fast forward and rewind. And then I have the primary arms, 3 to 18, ACSS HUD DMR set up for 308, which has everything you need to do to range your targets inside the scope with 0 batteries, no looking at a rangefinder, no losing your kit. You can you just bracket your target, know how far it is. It'll do your ballistics for you for this ammunition for standard battle ammo. And it actually works very good with M80 ball as well. And then it has wind hold-off dots, so you don't need to memorize that. And then it has moving target acquisition brackets in there to show you where to shoot. It's just awesome. Check out the review that will be coming out very soon on this scope. Or you can watch the HUD DMR, I think it was the 4 to 14 HUD DMR ACSS reticle that I had like, I don't know, a few months or a year back. Same reticle as in the 630 scope, which is significantly bigger and heavier. This is a heck of a step up in quality over the 4 to 14. So this is and it's like moderately priced. It's not like, I don't think it's, what does it cost? It's not over $1,000. It's like,
The scope.
I think it's pretty affordable actually. Like,
I can look it up.
yeah, you can look it up. I don't remember.
Get you an answer.
I'll answer a few more questions, but that's basically the setup right there. So now all I need is ammo. The rifle and ammo, maybe a sock filled with something, or a better range bag, which I'll show you later. So that's the setup there, guys. That was the point of the video. As the lasagna cures and ages like wine.
Yeah,
Sorry, babe. Hey, can you grab me like a something to drink or something? Oh, there's water in here this whole time?
This one yours.
I need water to live. I
You
found
know-
this out. I like work all day, and I'm so on target that I'll forget to drink water. Like for the whole day. It'll be 5 o'clock and I won't even have a sip of water.
Okay, ACSS. Which one is it? The ACSS.
Wow, that's amazing.
This
Can I have
one,
some
right?
more? Huh?
That's the one there. So it's 500.
$500. Yeah.
For that scope. Yep.
And so that scope is available at Primary Arms. The ACSS. HUD DMR 3 to 18. I think they just come out with that deal. And then I'm running for my stockpiling World War III ammo, Fiocchi 175 grain. Or gold medal match or whatever you want to use. But I use Fiocchi because it's affordable. If you're doing some special 2,000 meter type stuff like I did yesterday with the 308, then you need to run Trom.
Awesome.
Any other questions, guys? I'm sure there's a question on there. I've seen them flying by this whole time. How long have we? Oh, we've been 95 minutes.
Yeah.
That is one heck of a video right there.
One person asked something I wanted to ask you. What does Rex think about the name brand manufactured suppressors versus DIY solvent traps?
Do-it-yourself solvent traps? Yeah. The science of how suppressors work is very simple, but executing the details in terms of machining and getting the welds right and everything like that, you can fill out, I believe, what do they call it, a Form 1 and build one. I forget how the regulations are continuously evolving, so you want to contact the BATF to make sure you're doing that properly. You can build one. You get out a Form 1, you pay your tax stamp. When it comes back, then you can build a suppressor. All that stuff being said, it's not hard to do, but in all reality, guys, it's kind of nice to have battle-proven designs. It depends on your application too. Mind you, that a can like this is going to be designed for some things, and a Magnum rifle will require a whole different set of design parameters to execute their deal. They're going to have a bigger blast chamber in the front. There's just a whole lot of stuff. I ain't going to talk about that in too much detail here. Come to the seminar if you want to have that full conversation. But I would recommend getting a well-vetted, proven model. It's worth paying for it. And then he has a warranty too, man.
Awesome.
On any good brand.
So I'm posting the link. That's where you can read about our classes. Go to rexdefense.com. But this specific link, you can actually learn more about our classes if you want to know more of what's going on at them. So
Yep, and we're scheduling 2019 still. I got a few scheduled that ain't on there yet, but do stand by on those deals. And jump on them when you see them, because we don't know how long we're going with that deal. Rex might disappear into the woods one of these days and just be a farmer poet. How nice would that be? I would love, dude, I love writing poetry.
Like Hemingway type deal? Or?
My poetry ain't Hemingway style. It's more like heavy
metal.
Heavy metaling, yeah, kind of. Wait, no, I write some. I like poetry. I can write pretty poetry, but I like some heavy stuff too, man. Like reality type poetry. That makes sense. Encrypting truth within scary, awesome truth type lyrics. I don't know. And then some of it's sweet stuff, whatever.
You'll have to write us a poem one day.
Oh, I have a pile of them.
Do you? You should,
Yeah.
you should read one time.
You don't want to hear it. It's not dirty. It's not bad. It's just like, I don't think people can handle my poetry, man. It's too scary, too heavy.
One day.
All I need is like a heavy metal band to help me out. Except I want someone to sing it. Maybe I'll just do it.
There you go. We'll do that.
Hey, by the way, all the guitars on the videos and the songs, that's all. I played it all. So I am a poet at heart. I'm an artist at heart, guys. Artist cursed with knowledge of science. So it's slowed me down on the art part. But it's a good balance, right, guys? It's fun.
The helmet zone.
The helmet zone. Yeah, don't. When the TAC 3 comes out, watch your face. I'm gonna fold this up for Casey's safety here. Okay, so all right. Any other questions before I eat the lasagna and get out of here?
All right.
Actually, I'm gonna. Hey, is there more water that I can drink?
You
Wow,
can go.
look,
I was
how'd
gonna
this
say
get
you
here?
have some. Water is
They think
life.
I'm joking. They're like, "Oh, Rex is an exaggerator. He's hyperbolating." I actually forgot to drink water.
All right. You guys take care. I think we should get out here and eat some lasagna.
Yeah.
Watch
So that's the World War III working man blue collar rifle video, guys. We love you.
Can I plug your song video? They can go watch it.
Which song video? What is it? Yeah, you can watch
Okay.
my music videos. I have a whole music video section on my channel, guys.
Go watch Under the Ice if you want to see some of his poetry. All right.
Yeah, I have my poetry. There's one called Under the Ice. It's a fun one. There's a lot of good songs on there. It's all good back when I used to be.